Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I am here today making banana bread. It is the weekend and I would normally be outside in the garden or working on something in the yard, but it's about to rain and I have a birthday party to go to in a little bit, so I'm not going to go outside and get all dirty right now. So I thought I have two bunches of bananas here that desperately need to have something done with them. And I make banana bread all the time. This is my mom's recipe. I know it by heart. These do not last long in my house. My kids will eat them in a matter of days. I'm going to make a double recipe today, a double batch, because I have so many bananas. And I know that I'm going to make muffins. We'll see how much batter is left once I'm done with filling the muffin tins, and then I'll figure out what else I'm going to make. Either I have a bunch of little loaf pans, or I can make a big loaf. I'm just not sure how much will be left. So let's get started. I measured out most of the ingredients already just because I am making a double batch and I don't want to screw it up while I'm talking to you. A typical batch has 3 or 4 bananas. These bananas are really small, and I have 7 of them. So that's perfect, I think, for a double batch of banana muffins or banana bread, whatever you want to make. So I'm just going to get these peeled. I have my little bin here. Look how retro and old school this is. This was my grandparents', and I use this as my compost bin for when I'm in the house. Whenever I'm cooking or anything like that, I will throw all of my fruit and vegetable scraps right in there, and then I will take them out to the garden once every couple of days and put them out in my compost bin, just so I'm not having to run out there constantly. And they're contained, so it's not stinky. I can just throw the top right on it and not have to worry about it. So I'm just going to throw these bananas in here. Everyone keeps telling me, Mom, you got to make banana bread. These bananas look gross. So while I have a few minutes before I have to go to the party, I figured I would get these done. Then my kids can have them for snacks tonight, and then I'm sure they will be eating them for breakfast in the morning. My husband is carb free right now, so unfortunately he won't be eating any of these. But I have made these healthy before, where I've used a combination of almond flour and I think coconut flour, and then I've used a different kind of sugar. It's called xylitol, which is actually good for people who are on a lower no carb diet. So I have used those before. I'm just going to rinse my hands real quick. I have used those ingredients before, and they turned out really good. The only thing was that they weren't firm. When you make a muffin, they cook all the way through and they're firm. These ones were gooey. They were cooked all the way through, but they never really set, which they were messy, but they were really, really good. And the kids and my husband both liked them and agreed that they liked them gooey. It was almost like a brownie batter or something on the inside. Even though they were fully cooked, they just did not firm up. And I'm sure it's because of the combination of ingredients that I used, but they were really good. So I'm just mashing up my bananas now, and then I'm going to add my eggs. So since I'm making a double batch, this is going to be 4 eggs. I've put them all in a bowl already, and I just lightly beat them. So I'm just going to combine those real quick, and then the next thing you add is your butter. You're going to melt, for a double batch, 4 tablespoons of butter, which I've already done. So I'm just going to add that in, and that's it for wet ingredients. This is a really easy recipe. I've had it memorized for years because I just make it all the time. My mom gave me this recipe. It's one that she's always used, and I really love it. It's super easy to make. Alright, so I've combined all the wet ingredients, and I have already put together, like I said, I didn't want to screw up this recipe by making a double batch while I'm talking to you guys, because I know that's something that I would very easily do. I'd be talking, I'd get distracted, and then I'd forget how many scoops of flour I had. So in this container is 4 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of salt. So I have that all mixed in, combined in here, and I'm just going to slowly add it to my wet ingredients and just mix them in. You could use a mixer for this if you wanted to, like a hand mixer. I just always do it by hand. It's not hard to do. It's not like a cookie batter that's going to get real firm. So it's easy enough to do by hand. I was making this, I remember one time, I think it must have been 2 years ago now, I was making this recipe while I was also in the middle of making several other things. And like, I think I was cooking dinner and I was trying to prep a couple other things because I was on this diet that I absolutely hated and made my life miserable. It was complicated, and the foods you had to use, everything was different, and I was just miserable the whole time I was on the diet because I had to do all the prepping, and it was a lot of work, and then I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted anyways, so I was like, why am I doing this? But anyways, I was on this diet, and I was making just a ton of stuff, like total multitasking, and I was making banana bread, and I think I was making like a healthier version of banana bread, but I forgot to add the baking soda and the salt. So obviously the bread did not come out right. I ended up having to throw it away, and I think that was the same night that I ended up just like, I was so frustrated and and angry because nothing was going right. I left the house in the middle of winter, and I went for a walk, and it was freezing, and I just had to leave. Dinner was awful. Like, I know my husband and kids probably just looked at each other like, what is wrong with her? It was a miserable time. I'm not going to mention the diet that I was on, but because who knows, maybe one of you is on it or has tried it before and it's worked for you, but definitely not good for me. All right, so I have all my dry ingredients in here now. I'm just going to mix them up quick. And then I like to add chocolate chips and walnuts to my banana bread. You don't have to, but it's just something that I like to do. If you have, someone in your family or you have a nut allergy, you could certainly leave out the walnuts. I just find that I really enjoy that in my banana bread. I normally don't measure out my walnuts and my chocolate chips when I'm doing this, but I am going to measure now just because I'm making a double batch and I don't want to eyeball it. So I use this Pampered Chef measuring cup all the time. I love it. It's got different settings on it, so you can choose what what measurement you need. I love this thing. I don't know if they still sell it or not. I haven't bought Pampered Chef in a long time, but I love this thing. It has seen better days right here. I think it fell down in the dishwasher and got melted. And thankfully it didn't melt all the way through, so it still works. But I love this thing. So I'm going to measure 1.5 cups of walnuts and then 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. I keep my walnuts in the freezer because I have heard that helps them from going bad, and so that's just always what I do. As soon as I buy any sort of nut, actually, I just throw them right in the freezer just so they don't go bad. Not peanuts, because we eat peanuts for a snack all the time, but if I'm buying any sort of nut that's going to be around for a while, I just throw it right in the freezer. All right, so 1.5 cups of both the walnuts and the chocolate chips, and I'm just going to give that a good mix. And then I've already sprayed, whoops, I dropped a few on the floor. I've already sprayed my pans for my muffins. I like to spray them over the sink just so you're not getting spray everywhere. I don't know why. I don't know if my mom always did that, so that's why I do it, or not. I don't know. I don't remember, but I always just like to do it right over the sink, so I figured I would just do it ahead of time and have it ready. All right, this is combined. Just gonna grab my first tin. I just use a 1/4 cup measuring cup just to throw in, so it's kind of even, and then anything that's not even I go and I throw back in more if I need to. So I'm just going to get these cups filled up. So if I mentioned that I like to make a healthy version of these are not that. So I'm actually taking some sugar in the raw, it's called turbinado sugar, and I am going to just put a little bit on top of each of my muffins before I throw them into the oven. This reminds me of like the big giant muffins that you get at like Dunkin' or something like that, or even your grocery store where they have the sugar on top. I don't go crazy, I don't put a ton on there, I just put a little bit on. Adds a little crunch and a little bit of goodness to the muffins. I'm not going to do that with the next batch that I'm making the bread because I have a ton of batter left over. So I'm just going to get these in the oven. They're going in a 350-degree oven. And honestly, I don't know how long they go for. I'll try to keep track of the time, or I'll put it down in the, when I put the recipe in, I will mark down how long they should cook for, because I honestly don't know, because I don't keep track. I just, when they start to smell good, I know, okay, I have to keep an eye on them, and then I go from there. Probably like 15 minutes, I'm thinking. I'm not sure, but I'll keep track. I'll try to keep track. Look at all this batter I have left over. There's a ton of it. So I sprayed some of the mini tins I have. Or not tins, the mini loaf pans. These all happen to be Christmas ones. It doesn't matter because you can just pop them right out of here. And since I have so many, I'm probably going to end up giving some of this away. I'll for sure give some to my neighbors. They helped us with painting and putting the new roof on the shed this weekend. So as a thank you, I will give some to them. I would just make a big loaf, but I'm kind of on a time crunch because I'm supposed to be at my nephew's birthday party. So it will take longer to cook, and I just don't have that sort of time today. So I don't know how many this is going to take. Maybe just one more. This one's a little bigger, which I'm realizing now you can't see, but I can. So yeah, I think this will just take 3 of the mini loaf pans. These are going to take a little bit longer to cook than the muffins will, obviously. So I'll try to keep track of that as well. But normally once you can start to smell them, you know that they're cooking and they're getting close. And I really try not to over bake them because I don't want them to be dry. I want them to be nice and moist and yummy. So, all right, so I have 3 of these mini tins, and I'm just going to throw these in the oven as well. And then while everything is cooking, I'm just going to take this opportunity to get cleaned up. I put most of my ingredients away already because I got them all together before I started the video. Put the top back on my compost. I might actually walk that back out. There's a ton of stuff in there. My son and his friend made eggs this morning. They made a ton of eggs, and then I used 4 eggs, and there's 7 banana peels in here, so it's getting pretty full, so I might take that back. It's nice out right now, and the air conditioning is not on, so yes, I am heating up my house by doing this, but I bake all year long. I love baking. I grew up baking with my mom, and now my daughter bakes with me. She's not baking with me today. She's getting ready for the party, but while I was just filling the cups and I pressed pause on the video for a minute, I hear her behind me say, "Are you recording a video right now?" Which was really cute. Because she saw my camera out. So I'm just going to get these things cleaned up. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the time so I can let you guys know how long I cook these, and I will be right back. Okay, it's been 20 minutes exactly since the muffins have been in the oven. I just pulled them out. They're perfect. They're golden brown. They look delicious. They smell so good. So the turbinado sugar that was on them kind of seeps down into them, but they're so good. I can't wait to eat one. I'm gonna hope that one is cool enough that I can pop one out before I have to leave, which I'm really on a time crunch. So I moved the 3 loaves that I have in the oven, I moved them up so they can cook a little faster. They still have a little bit to go, at least 10 minutes. Very gooey in the middle still. One of the last times I was making banana bread, I was struggling. I don't know if I was moving something from the bottom to the top. I must have been. I was making a big loaf of banana bread. I was moving it from the bottom shelf to the top, and my oven had this weird thing where, like, when you open up the oven, it would pull out the bottom, like, I don't want to say drawer, but you know what I mean, the bottom thing of the oven. It would pull out with it, and it was really annoying and not very useful. I somehow spilled the banana bread that I was making, and it was not firm or set yet at all, so I spilled it literally all over the glass part of my oven, the glass part of the door. It was a disaster. I couldn't clean it up right then. I mean, like, I did what I could, but it was such a mess. I had to wait till the oven cooled, obviously. By that time, I had forgotten about it, so the next time I went to cook, I go to turn on the oven and realize, oh my God, I have this huge mess of banana bread that spilled that I have to clean up. So then it wouldn't come off. So then I had to turn the oven on just a little bit so I could try to get it cleaned off. And my husband is so sweet. I know I've said that before. He ended up actually helping me clean it. And we got the vacuum and we vacuumed it all out after we scraped it. It was a ginormous mess. But the banana bread was still good. I scooped what I could back into the pan and finished cooking it. But it was a disaster, to say the least. So in the meantime, I got my present ready to go for my nephew. Carl is checking it out right now. And I'm just going to wait for these to finish cooking and get them out of the oven so I can head to the party. This is how they turned out. They're perfect and they're golden. And Olivia has already said, can I have one? So we're both going to eat one together. They're delish. So good. Approved? Mm-hmm. Okay. The loaves are out. Look how perfect they are. They're golden brown. They passed the toothpick test. They're done in the middle. They look and smell amazing. I bet this would be really good if I put the turbinado sugar on these too, because it gives a little crunch to it. It's so good. Anyways, they're all done. They look perfect and beautiful. I sprayed the pan so they're gonna pop right out of there. And then once they're fully cooled, I can wrap them in foil and give them as gifts, or keep them home. The muffins that I have in the tins, once they're fully cooled, I shove them right into just like a big plastic bag. I'm telling you, they will not last long. You could probably put these in the freezer and save them for later. You know, if you're running late in the morning, it would be great to just pull one out of the freezer, let it thaw out a little bit, but that does not happen in this house because they go so fast. They're delicious. I love them. The recipe is amazing. Thanks for hanging with me in my kitchen today, and I will see you guys next time.